We're quiet for now, but we'll be keeping an eye on the skies later this afternoon and through the first part of your night, especially East River, for the potential of some strong to severe thunderstorms. Otherwise, it is going to be a windy day and cooler, comparatively speaking, to what we've seen over the past 3 days. That threat for thunderstorms East River will continue into the first part of your night. Low temperatures, for what it's worth, dropping into the 50s and even into the 40s out west. We'll go through the rest of your 7-day forecast coming up. Midday in KELOLAND starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, Midday in KELOLAND.
New this midday, 6 members of a Mitchell baseball team are officially charged with rape. Plus,
Hunter Biden appears in court to face federal gun charges. I'm Natalie Brandt with why his legal troubles may not be over.
good afternoon and thanks for having us in. 6 members of the Mitchell post-18 varsity baseball team are officially charged with rape. The teenagers appeared in front of a judge this morning in Pennington County. Hudson Haley and Landon Waddell face the most charges. They're each accused of having 2 victims. Court documents say the other players are accused of sexually assaulting 1 victim. This case first made headlines in June when the Mitchell Baseball Association suspended the team because of possible player misconduct. The crimes allegedly happened when the team was in Pennington County for a tournament. KELOLAND's Tyler Lauder was at the courthouse for today's hearings. We'll have details from the courtroom tonight on KELOLAND News. Sioux Falls police say an early morning shooting sent a woman to the hospital, and investigators are still looking for the person who shot her. The report came in around 1:30 this morning. Our crew got video of police putting up crime tape at the corner of 6th Street and Spring Avenue. Police say the 45-year-old victim was shot in the leg and arm. She's expected to survive. She spoke with investigators. They tell us she couldn't identify the person who shot her. Police are using surveillance video from the area in hopes of identifying the shooter. And weather, we felt some rain this morning, and that looks to continue this afternoon. Right, Adam?
Yeah, we do get a break as we go into the first part of your afternoon, but by the evening commute, we are going to need to keep an eye on the skies once more. Now, the X factor is going to be what kind of sunshine we get. If we get more, that destabilizes the atmosphere, and then there is more energy available for thunderstorms to develop. If we stay cloudier, then that'll mitigate some of that energy. Regardless, what you're seeing here is just one product that looks at available energy based on some of our model products. And you can see as we go and zoom in toward eastern and southeastern KELOLAND, the brighter the shade of green, the more energy there will be likely for thunderstorms to develop as we go into the evening and the first part of the night. But it doesn't last. It is out of here by the time we get into early Wednesday morning. So there is going to at least be a break coming up from what we're going to be watching later this evening and into the night. Until we get there, though, just watch the skies and stay weather aware. We're in the 60s where we've seen rain in northeastern KELOLAND, like Brookings, Huron, Watertown, and Aberdeen, and we're still seeing rain for that matter. But a warmer 78 in Sioux Falls and Yankton. Granted, this is not as warm as it was yesterday. 48, though, the outlier by a country mile in Custer. 57 Spearfish, 67 in Rapid City, 77 as we continue the trend and take a look at winter. Southwest winds at 13 miles per hour. They'll stay mainly quiet. Now, compared to yesterday, it is noticeably cooler, especially East River, where we were setting, or at least challenging, more record high temperatures, and that cool down is going to continue. Winds are also going to be a factor today out of the west if you're West River, but a southerly breeze bringing in more moisture if you are East River ahead of a cold front. Gusts have been around 30 to 35 miles per hour on the high end over the last about hour or so. So this is what we're seeing right now on satellite and radar. Again, showers of a scattered variety moving northeastward through South Dakota and into Minnesota. And while we are getting a break, we need to see how much sunshine we get ahead of this cold front, which will be a focal point for activity later this evening. We'll go through updates to the severe weather potential, plus go through the rest of your cooler 7-day forecast coming up in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. Veterans Court gives the men and women who served our country a second chance when they're facing criminal charges. The court was started by veterans with the idea of keeping veterans out of prison and putting their lives back on track. The court operates in Minnehaha County and is looking for volunteer mentors.
The cool thing about Veterans Court is every graduation is that when you hear them talk about where they've come from when they started to where they are now, it's an amazing success story every single time that makes you cry every single time.
Now, only people who are serving or have served in the military can qualify as a mentor. The program offers training for the volunteers. We'll take a closer look at how Veterans Court is changing lives in tonight's Eye on KELOLAND, coming up at 10 o'clock. Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy spoke to the press this morning after Representative Matt Gaetz moved to launch a vote to oust him from the helm. When asked if he thought he would be removed as Speaker, McCarthy said that he was confident he would remain in his position and said that he believed, quote, "it seems very personal." McCarthy said he would bring the vote to the floor today and that if 5 Republicans joined all the Democrats in voting against him, he would be removed as Speaker. Although Gaetz acknowledges the vote may not have enough support to remove McCarthy from the job. President Joe Biden's son pleaded not guilty to federal firearms charges today inside a Delaware courtroom. Hunter Biden was indicted by a grand jury after a judge refused to sign off on a plea deal that would have spared him jail time. Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
President Biden's son Hunter Biden left the courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware Tuesday after pleading not guilty to federal gun charges.
He flew out there, he said not guilty, and this, of course, is a result of something that absolutely did not go according to plan, which is the disintegration of the plea agreement.
The younger Biden, who has acknowledged his past struggle with drug addiction, is accused of making a false and fictitious statement in 2018 about his drug use on a federal form when purchasing a gun. Another count alleges he knowingly possessed a firearm while on drugs. Hunter Biden's indictment comes after a plea deal on tax and gun charges fell apart this summer. His legal team argues the charges are, quote, excessive, not supported by fact, and argues they reflect political interference by former President Trump and his allies.
I think they're going to argue that one of the statutes that he's charged under is unconstitutional, that it violates the Second Amendment.
A special counsel appointed by the Attorney General is now overseeing this case, which may not end with the gun charges. The ongoing investigation includes tax and other potential violations, although no other charges have yet been filed. President Biden has declined to comment on the charges. His son's trial could overlap with his 2024 re-election campaign. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Congressional Republicans have launched an impeachment inquiry into the president based on Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings. But so far, no evidence has been produced showing Joe Biden broke the law or benefited financially.